Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm super excited to be doing this video today because it's probably going to be my most controversial, maybe, video to date because I don't know, I've been thinking about this for a while and I always get this question in my inbox, on various platforms. I'm trying to get a compliance job, it's just not working for me. What should I do? What course should I study? And I've already done the videos in terms of how to decide which course you need to watch. And if you haven't watched it, I'm going to put the link up here and you are going to be able to watch that video and get more information about how to choose a compliance course. But I wanted to do this video to shed some light about how you are self-sabotaging sometimes about getting opportunities in the world of compliance. A lot of you are sitting out there wondering, I've been applying and applying for jobs, I'm not successful, why is the case? So today's video is all about why you aren't getting that compliance job. And you're going to have some thick skin and be ready to hear the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. And if you're not, this is not the video for you. But I know that I'm coming from a place of wanting to help you to change the way you are doing things, to change your approach, change your thinking, and hopefully get the outcome that you are looking for and that has been eluding you for a very long time. But before I jump into the video, thank you to everybody that subscribed. The channel's growing. I'm loving it. And if you like this video, please do like it. If you haven't subscribed yet, then please do subscribe. It really is appreciated that you support this channel. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. I made some notes because I wanted to make sure that I don't forget anything. Okay, so number one, the obvious reason you are not getting a compliance job is that you do not have the relevant experience. Duh, Kudzai. What am I supposed to do about that? Because it's a chicken and egg kind of situation. I don't have experience. They won't employ me. They won't employ me. I can't get experience. The thing is, compliance is a very unique skill set, and sometimes a lot of us go into compliance from and gain our compliance experience, and that's our world for a very long time. We are compliance specialists, and hiring managers historically hire other compliance officers if they can get their hands on them. So how are you, a person who has no experience, supposed to come into this space and get the opportunity when a vacancy arises? And I'm saying to you, the mistake that you are making is that you have not spent enough time understanding the value that you can bring from a different background, finance, client services, audit, operations, whatever, from any of those backgrounds. What is it that I can bring to the table that will be of value to a compliance function, even when I don't have compliance experience? And I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by that. Let's say a person in operations wants to move into the compliance space. As far as I am concerned, the skill set and knowledge that you have from an operations background is so valuable. You know the inner workings, you know the nuts and bolts of the business, how these different parts come together to deliver the products and services. Compliance, sometimes we're from the outside looking in, we don't have that level of detail. If you can figure out how to sell and articulate what your knowledge and skill can be of value to compliance, they would love to have you. I would love to have a person in operations with operational background working in my team, because when we're doing things like compliance tests and mapping out the best methodology to test controls, you've got someone there who has actually operated the controls, worked with the people. They know exactly how all the pieces fit together, so they can then give you that insight to make sure that your compliance testing methodology is appropriate and fit for purpose for what you're trying to achieve. So that is a unique and valuable skill that if you sell it right, even if you're coming to the table without necessarily having compliance experience, that you can learn, but you actually have a unique skill set that maybe a lot of the people in the existing compliance team don't have. So it's about sitting down and interrogating your skill set and saying, okay, I understand compliance does this, but how can this set of skills and this knowledge that I have add value to that, complement that, to the extent that the fact that I don't have experience is not such a bad thing, because what I'm bringing to the table is a good thing, and I can always learn, and I can convince them that I'm a good learner and fast learner, and within 6 months I'll be up and running in terms of the compliance knowledge. So that inability to articulate, a lot of you, and I remember when I was doing interview preparation, a lot of you would go into some of the questions that we would engage with, focusing on, I don't have this, I don't have that, but I wish you would give me a chance. Okay, wishing I give you a chance is not going to get you there. Tell me what you have and how that is going to help me in my compliance team as the hiring manager. That is your focus. Go through your CV and figure out, how do these things that I have done, how can they help a compliance hiring manager? And already you're walking into the room better off than a lot of the other candidates that are there. So you don't have to have experience. You need to be able to sell your transferable skills. Number one. Number two, academic knowledge, but no practical understanding of how that works in the real world. So this is probably my biggest bugbear, which is why I created the compliance practices workshop. You have to be able, get your certificates. No issues with that at all. I encourage it. But if your knowledge is only surface level, any hiring manager who scratches beyond the surface is going to see straight away that you have no clue as to how what you studied in your certificate is going to do and be applied in the real world. So you have to be able to take things a little bit deeper and say, okay, I've got the certificate, yay. Or I've got 100 certificates, yay. But what does it mean on a practical level? And that's going to mean you must interact with the real world and think about compliance, have your compliance hat on, and say, okay, when I read the newspaper, when I see these fines and penalties being issued by regulators, when they issue policy statements, let me interrogate how these actual regulations that I learned about are operating in the real world. When they say when the information regulator says that, they've issued a fine and a penalty and these types of behaviors are unacceptable, why are they saying that? What is the impact? So it doesn't need you to have a job to do further research and understand how the laws and regulations are working in the real world. But you have to, on your own, be willing to take that step forward and say, okay, I've got the certificate about financial services regulation. Let me observe the world that I operate in, read about it in the newspaper, on the internet and regulatory website, and see how this is all coming together. What are the implications and how does that look? And when you do that and you go into an interview room, even if you don't have experience, you're able to show an understanding of why the laws are what they are. What is the impact on customers? What is this protection trying to achieve? What are the market conduct regulations therefore in the first place? You're able to articulate that. And even if you haven't necessarily worked, your understanding is more depth, more meaty, more juicy, and not just, like I said, you crammed, you passed an exam, and you still can't quite explain it to anybody how it works. So take that extra initiative, interrogate what you've learned in the context of real life. Walk around with your eyes and your ears open and be curious about why things are happening. And if you are in a workplace and you do hear stuff that's going on in the workplace from a company, ask questions. I heard that there was a fine at this bank. What are we doing about things like that? Be curious always. Let it not stop at getting a certificate and adding that line to your CV and you think you're automatically going to get a job. When you get to the interview, things shall fall apart, like they say in the book. Okay, so that's number two. Take your academic knowledge to the next level, not more certificates, but go deeper. Be curious, learn, observe what's happening around you, and apply compliance thinking to what's happening out there. And then number three, and this is the most controversial thing I probably will ever say, and I think I've said it on my LinkedIn platform, and someone commented, oh, that's nepotism or cheating. That's your perspective. But number 3 is build relationships, grow your network. Because hiring managers speak to other hiring managers and say, do you know someone who's in this? Peers speak to peers and say, I'm looking for candidates like this. If you know of anybody, let me know. Yes, they place the advert on LinkedIn and then the newspaper and Career Junction, and they send out employment agents to, scour the world for CVs, but they're also asking amongst their own colleagues. And if you are not plugged into a healthy network of peers who know your skill set, your desires in terms of your career and goals and things you're trying to achieve, when opportunities arise, no one is going to be like, oh, I actually know a really good candidate for that job. Let me get their CV and forward it to you. Remember, that process is not about the person doesn't have to hire you, but it just means that your CV gets on the table of the hiring manager as opposed to being on a pile with 10,000 other CVs being sifted through by an algorithm. Your chances of them then assessing and determining if you're a suitable candidate without getting kicked out by the system before they have a chance to know you exist just got increased just that little bit. You might actually just get shortlisted and like, okay, well, Kudzai referred her, maybe let me just at least interview her and see. And then you get to do what we call the sell that I was talking about at number 1 tip. So, and when I talk about networks, I'm not talking about bombard people's inboxes and harass them. I think I've made this point before. Just be genuinely interested, be of interest generally, comment on people's posts on LinkedIn, post your own stuff, be curious, engage with them where you have engaged, and have a well thought out conversation about your interests and all of that. And then it'll all come together. That relationship will build over time. And then potentially when I hear of something, when Mark hears about something, when Nobile hears about something, whoever, they'll be like, oh, by the way, I interacted with that really smart person who had quite some interesting ideas and is quite ambitious. She mentioned 6 months ago that she'd be interested in an opportunity. Let me reach out and see if she's still looking for a role, and then I can refer her for that role. Like it or not, that is the reality of the world that we operate in. It may appear unfair from the outside, but it is what it is. So build your network, be interested, be interesting, explain to people the opportunities that you're out looking for. Don't be shy. I always say the best example is a single girl or a single guy saying, oh, I'm not interested in a relationship because they don't want to appear desperate. But deep down, they really do want to be in a relationship. The problem with that is that you're putting it out into the world that you don't want. But, oh, I have the perfect guy or girl or brother or sister or whatever for you. But now you just mentioned that you're not interested in a relationship. So I'm not going to introduce you. And you're wondering why you don't meet people. Same thing works for jobs. Put it out into the universe, express what you're interested in to the people within your network, and see what happens. They may just think of you when a great opportunity comes around. Okay, that was reason number 3. Don't just rely on throwing jobs into portals with 50,000 other people. That's not how the reality of the world works. And number 4, last but not least, because I don't want to traumatize you too much in this video, a lot of you are not willing to do the work to attract opportunities. And this is what I mean by that. And it's connected to what I was saying earlier on about putting it out there. Let me give you an example of something I see a lot on LinkedIn, for example. Someone will share a link to an article about AML or data protection and not necessarily add their own thoughts. What do you think about the link? You've shared it. Thank you for sharing it. I'm going to read it. But what I really want to know as a potential employer is, what do you think about it? When you read this article, what was your assessment of what was said? What was your analysis of what went wrong, what went right? Have an opinion that you are willing to share. Because if you can't even get yourself to do that online when you have the luxury of being behind a computer and no one is looking at you, how are you going to do it in a room, in a boardroom with senior management, with executives who are saying, tell us what you think, and you cannot bring yourself to articulate your thoughts on a matter? So challenge yourself and say, I am actually saying that I want a role in a profession that requires me to have opinions, to give advice, to say that this is right and this is wrong, but I cannot bring myself to express an opinion. Then that is problematic. So put yourselves out there. It doesn't even matter if you're right, if you're wrong. You might just spark an interesting conversation. You might make someone like myself or a CCO or a chief risk officer think about something, because your idea could actually be a great idea. And someone out there will be like, he's smart, she's smart. I never thought about that. And you're getting people's attention. But just sharing a link, you might as well not bother, to be honest. I could have found that link on my own. So what I'm saying to you is put yourselves out there. Be willing to show your uniqueness, your way of thinking, your ability to share an opinion. No one is right all the time. You know, people will always disagree. I say stuff some people don't agree with. It is what it is. Doesn't hurt my feelings. And the same should be going for you. Be brave, put yourself out there. So that's essentially what I wanted to say. I don't want this to be an extremely long video. I do want to encourage you to think about job hunting in the compliance space very differently. It's not about churning out hundreds of CVs and hoping something sticks. The world we're operating in works very differently. People are in this world wide web, social media type of space. People are looking at people very differently and finding candidates for roles very differently. And the problem is there's a lot of people out there looking for opportunities. How are you making sure that that opportunity belongs to you and you're grabbing it with both hands? Okay, so those are the 4 things I wanted to say to you about mistakes you're making, things that you're not doing, and why you are not securing that compliance job. Ooh, I remembered one other thing. Attitude, attitude, attitude. A lot of you are walking into rooms feeling sorry for yourself and spending half the interview complaining about why you're not getting a job and how hard it's been, instead of being positive, upbeat, and saying, yes, it's been tough. I've been looking for a job for 9 years, 6 months, 3 days, whatever the case is, but I know that I'll get it. I understand what I can bring to the table, and I hope that you can see the skills and qualities that I have to offer. Instead of, oh, it's been so hard. Oh my gosh, no one wants to hire me. I don't know what to do. I'm so depressed. And I'm sure those are valid feelings, but do not take them into the interview room. They will do nothing for you. So have a positive attitude as much as you can. Make people say, this is someone I want to work around. This is the energy that we need to bring into the team, instead of, oh Lord, if he comes into my team, they are going to drag the energy down, drag the enthusiasm down, and no one wants to hire a millstone into their team. So keep thinking about that as well. Have a great attitude as much as you can when you engage with potential people. Like I said, in your networks, don't make it about complaining and moaning and groaning. Make it about, I'm looking for opportunities. I'm excited. I love compliance. That type of energy will make people want to refer opportunities to you more than negative, Debbie Downer, I feel exhausted after talking you type of energy, okay? So, take ownership of the energy that you're bringing into your relationships, your professional relationships, and into the interviews, because those are also affecting how well you do or don't do in the space of job hunting. All right, that's it from me. I don't know how long I've been here. I hope I haven't been rambling. I hope I'm convicting you to think a lot more about how you're operating in this space. Have a fantastic rest of the week. And as always, if you've got questions, comments, ideas, pop them in the comment section. I am very happy to address them, as many as I can, as and when I see them. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Bye.